Well, as we get on up there in age, and I'm including myself in that category because I am getting on up there, as the young kids would say today, you need to be thinking about how to make the best of the days that are left. And that's where AARP comes in. They're an advocacy group helping that 50-plus population. And unfortunately, we have to talk about the things that nobody else wants to talk about. Fraud is rampant even in this industry. We've got Kimberly Campbell with us today from AARP Mississippi. Thanks for joining us, Kimberly. Tell us all about the world of fraud and how it relates to AARP.
Yes, it's sad to say, but as we become more technologically advanced, so do criminals, and that's a horrible thing. And one of the demographics that they target often are our 65 and older individuals. But you would be amazed. We also have had some surveys that people under 50 are also, falling for some of these scams and frauds. And so this is something that we really do want to make sure that we fight back against in our community. And one of the things that AARP Mississippi in particular does is that we really do a lot of education about, current frauds and things to be aware of. I tell you, one of the areas that we see often in Mississippi, of course, we have bad tornadoes, and during the hurricane season, we get the crazy rains on the Gulf Coast, especially to the WLOX area. Carpenters, roofers, construction workers, this is where a lot of people fall victim. They will knock on the door of someone that may be 65 or older. They will, say, oh, they can do all this amazing work if you just give them $5,000, where the work was probably going to cost you $20,000. Of course, I always tell people, if it seems it's too good to be true, it likely is, right? And people of a certain age would typically just give them the money, up front, and they'll give them a date that they're coming back, and they never return back. And most of the time, people also did not get their credentials. They did not make sure that they were licensed and bonded. So these are some of the things that we try to educate individuals about, is that beware of people just knocking on your door. Also beware of some of the scams that come to where you'll get a phone call and someone will say that your son has been arrested or some loved one has been arrested. And so if you just give them your debit card or your number right now, they will release them. Or that you owe taxes. And I cannot tell you how often I tell people, trust me on this, the IRS is not going to call you or send you a link through a text saying you owe them money. And if you do not pay over the phone or through that link, the sheriff's department is on their way to arrest you. That is not how that works. As well, the sheriff's department is not going to forewarn you basically that there's a warrant out for your arrest. So if you just pay this money right now, I won't send my deputies to come arrest you. That is not how any of that works. So I tell people often, do not fall for that. Don't fall for those 911 emergencies. Don't fall for that getting arrested. Don't fall for the IRS. If you are concerned that maybe you didn't pay something or maybe you forgot to do something, don't discuss it with the phone call, with the call you got. Hang that up. Do your due diligence. Look up the real number to whether it's your sheriff's department in Gulfport, and then you can ask those questions, because the number that's calling you, do not trust that. So we always want you to stop, breathe, verify before you move forward with handing over any money. In connection with education, we also do scam jams and shred events. Shredding is another big area to where people, if you do not shred important documents, people get that information and they, can steal your identity, and that is through the roof with what people are able to take to steal from individuals when they can steal your identity. So we have big shred events. Typically we will partner with the Attorney General's office or a local bank, and it's free. Everything that we do is always free. You just come and you can see the big truck right there. You'll dump it in, and you'll see the truck will be shredding everything. And so those are really fun shred events. And also at the shred events, we will give you information about our AARP Fraud Watch Network. So that's something else I was going to mention. So the Fraud Watch Network is a great tool and a great asset. You can always go to just type in AARP Fraud Watch Network, and it will pull up a plethora of resources and information. It even has things on there about the Fraud Resource Center, the scam tracking map, which is real time and can tell you what are the scams that are happening in your area. Watchdog alerts. You can sign up for a free biweekly newsletter to come via email or text. It helps you stay very informed and alert on the latest scams. We also have the Perfect Scam podcast, which is very, very important. And then we have just our virtual events and our in-person events. We do teletown halls where, we will have, whether it's officials from the Social Security office or officials from IRS. We do that during tax season. Here's another area, romance scams. Yes, for our 50 plus, romance scams are huge because look, at 50 plus, we are still living our best lives out there. And so we have many in our demographic, even in our 70 plus demographic, that are still dating. They are on websites, or they've met someone, as I call it, out there in the wild. and they have fallen victim to things. And so we have a lot of events around romance scams where we really tell people, this is not your person. If you've just met them and they're already saying that you need to put them on your mortgage, or you need to put them on your life insurance, or you need to, send them $20,000 because they've got some health crisis going on, this is likely not your person. And so we really want you to, again, stop, breathe, verify. And also, don't be ashamed. If you fall victim, contact your local sheriff's department, contact their attorney general's office. And there's a way also through the AARP Fraud Watch Network that you can also, submit scams and frauds that you have seen that have happened in your area. Gift cards also. Do not get calls from strange people that say, hey, if you go get $500 worth of gift cards and send those to me, I will actually give you $1,000 for it. Don't fall for that. Please don't fall for that. Prizes, if you've won something, you will never have to pay to get your financial prize. So there's a lot going on out there, and we just want people to be aware of it. Again, you can follow us, AARP Mississippi. You can type that up and look us up at www.aarp.org/MS. And again, you can just type in AARP Fraud Watch Network.
I'm going to tell you what, 2025 is a wild time for fraudsters, and it impacts everyone. You're right. But I think the important thing is to note they're always going to prey on emotions. They need you to make a decision right now.
Absolutely.
It's an emotional decision. There's something crazy happening in your life. Hurricane, somebody's in jail, somebody's sick. Don't fall for it. Just hang up the phone and then ask other questions. Kimberly Campbell from AARP Mississippi, thanks for being here. A lot of great information. If you have any questions, follow that number you see at the bottom of your screen, and they will be able to help you out. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.